and welcome to Connect and Collaborate. I'm Alex Hopkins, taking over for Tammy Schaefer, your regular on-air producer. And I have with me today the riveters of manufacturing.
That's right.
Yes, I have Kristen Muzzy here with Leading2Lean, and I also have Stacey Bibik in-house with Twin Monkeys. And so Kristen comes on once in a while. We have her on about once a month.
Once a month.
Yeah. And we talk manufacturing with you.
We do. We are the riveters of manufacturing.
Riveters, yes.
We are.
I have to make it a point to say that is a play on Rosie the Riveter, right?
It is.
That is, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, right? We didn't wear the scarves today.
That's okay. Next time we'll remember.
There you
we'll
go.
Coordinate.
Well, it's always a pleasure to be here with you, Alex. And Stacey, it's great to have you back.
Thank you so much. It's great to be back.
It is. It's always fun. We have so much fun together. So, for our audience that's listening, we've got Stacey Bibik, who joins us today to share an American dream story about an exciting startup manufacturer she's working with called Twin Monkeys.
That's right.
And when you first told me about Twin Monkeys, I'm like, are we going to the zoo? Are they making plush animals? But and also we're going to talk. So we'll talk about the American dream story, which is awesome. But we're also going to talk about some challenges faced in the manufacturing sector here locally. It transfers nationally as well, and innovative ideas and solutions, because you always bring some great ones. But I want to introduce you a little bit, and I know that you get a little stressed when I introduce you, but you're amazing. I think you're amazing.
Well, thank you.
So Stacey's been.
Could you tell my kids that?
Are they listening? They should.
They better be.
Yes. So Stacey, she's got a breadth of experience in Colorado's manufacturing community and is passionate about the future of manufacturing in Colorado. She founded the Colorado's chapter of Women in Manufacturing. She speaks to numerous groups of up and coming career changers about careers in manufacturing. The last time you were here, you were the transition whisperer. So
that's right. You gave me that. Added that to my business card.
I love that. Did you get it made up? Transition whisperer?
Not yet. I should do that.
Matchmaking owners of business that have gone through the older generation, new generation doesn't want to take over, and matching them with potential buyers.
Startup entrepreneurs, yeah.
Yeah. She's also, you started in manufacturing because your dad owned Sunstrand, right?
He worked
he was a Sunstrand machinist.
Yeah.
That's right.
Then went on to open his own little shop and eventually retired.
And that's how you got involved into the whole machining world.
Addicted to the making stuff, for sure.
And found your passion around all the makers. And you've been working in machining for a good majority of your career, right?
Correct.
In all different positions.
Right. The kids used to say, when I got home, you smell like a machine shop.
And you're like, yeah.
Yeah. And coolant.
But Stacey, you've got a Bachelor's of Science in International Business from CU Denver. You've got your MBA. You're also a recipient of the 2014 Manufacturing Institute STEP Award.
That was really fun.
I'll bet that was amazing.
Drug my father all the way to D.C. to get that.
What did you win that for?
It's been a huge effort by the Manufacturing Institute to advance diversity, particularly more women in manufacturing, because the ratio is still very
It's like 24% still.
Right, right. And so that STEP award is strictly nominate someone you know, but it's fostered a huge national community of women, encouraging women.
Yes.
And engineering has gone through the same thing, lawyers, doctors, whatever, but manufacturing seems to be a little slower to get in the game.
I think a lot of it, and we'll talk about this hopefully a little bit later, but the whole paradigm of what most people think manufacturing is, and hopefully we continue to educate people that it is an exciting industry to be in. So, and you're a mom and a grandma.
Right.
You're way too young for a grandma. So welcome, Stacey, and now you're working with Twin Monkeys. So tell us what Twin Monkeys is.
So I'm sure many more people than myself knew about Twin Monkeys long before I knew about Twin Monkeys. our friend Bart Taylor at Company Week did a feature article on them a couple years ago when they were just starting out. But my original connection to Twin Monkeys is one of the owners, Brian Lefevre, worked at a company years and years ago along with the other owner, Josh Van Riper, called B10. Somehow Denver landed a contract to make, I can't remember if it was airbags or some kind of safety equipment for automobiles. And in fact, my father worked at that same company, and this was
Small world.
a long time ago. But that company spawned a lot of engineers and machinists, and that then moved on to other things when that company had finished its life. And Brian went on to create Colorado Automation and Design. He's a master robot builder.
I'll bet a lot of people don't know about Colorado Automation and Design.
You know, the funny thing in Colorado,
it's fascinating.
A lot of us don't know about each other. I discovered another company recently for our supply chain, Monarch Manufacturing, family-owned, 11 years in business, huge operation. But we're not participators. We don't toot our own horns. We kind of hide in the corner and work hard. And
we're hard at work, and we're not. The industry has not traditionally been really good about networking and getting out and promoting not only the industry but what they're selling here locally in the community. I think that's changing.
I do think it's changing, and it's really encouraging because to strengthen everyone as a whole, there's plenty of work. That's what I tell people. There's so much work. Don't worry about your competitor taking work from you. Don't fight over crumbs when there's a huge...
We can, here at Colorado Business Roundtable, we collaborate. The whole tagline is connect and collaborate. And as you know, we're building these verticals of focused industry collaboration, sharing best practices and ideas and, helping one another out,
And that's what's great about this program, because you're accomplishing a lot of that.
Yeah. Well, thank you. That's great. So anyways, B10.
So B10 brought my father, Josh, Brian. Fast forward, they had various iterations. Josh had a few different impressive iterations, and I believe he has a PhD from NYU in electrical engineering. So these two are on-fire inventors. They just don't. The rest of us run really fast and try and keep up.
The wheels are constantly turning, right?
Yes. And so at one point, Josh and his incredible wife, Karen, they were owners in Odyssey Brew Works, which is a microbrewery in Arvada. Okay. And Josh was frustrated with the can filling equipment available in the marketplace. And so he circled back around with Brian, and they were tinkering, and I recall at one point visiting Brian, and he showed me a machine that could do 6 cans at a time.
Okay.
But this was a huge improvement, because apparently your choices were 1 at a time, or, Ball or Coors. Or
Sure. Yeah.
This is a huge gap in the middle.
Yeah.
So with the microbrewery industry, of course,
is booming,
which we are the capital.
Yes, we are.
Of. And so they kept going, and this just kept rolling forward. And then in 2015, and I've only been there 6 months, so I'm still learning. But they came on board. They have this was the genius that really attracted me, was the engineering, the thought, in it for the marathon, not a race. So they have a small machine called the Yampa. Everything's named after Colorado rivers, which is cool.
That is cool.
The Yampa, your choice as a microbrewer is to invite a mobile canner to come to your garage or your...
It's kind of like, it's a contract mobile, exactly
He's got a machine
right?
in the back of a truck, right.
You're renting.
You're renting a canning service. So the Yampa cans approximately 20 cans a minute.
Okay.
The genius is they designed a small, a medium, and a large. If you buy the medium, you can tinker toy it up to a large.
Oh, cool.
So the American dream part of it is as these micro brewers go from mobile canning to buying their own canning machine, when they're successful, we're successful, and it's a positive circle that just keeps growing and growing and growing.
They don't have to scrap the machine and buy a whole new one.
Right.
They can keep extending it. So they designed scalability into the machine.
Scalability
Smart.
into the machine, and a la carte items that improve the level of manual things if you want to feed your cans in one end, or if you want to have a little widget that automatically feeds cans into it, even up to a pallet, a sheet of cans off a pallet.
Oh, interesting.
It is amazing.
That is fascinating.
And you'll have to go to the website and see these things run.
I did look at it. It's pretty cool, but I want to go see. I want to see it in action.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, again, the necessity is the mother of invention. Josh couldn't get good equipment. They invented their own equipment, and now, boom, they had 3 employees at the beginning of last year. We sold over 60 machines in 1 year. We have 13 employees at the beginning of this year, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to project that we would double again.
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
That is fantastic. And are you selling just locally, or are you selling nationally?
That's the great part too, is we have, Josh is very good about putting pins on the world maps where our machines are.
Okay.
And since I've been there in July, we have shipped a machine to Dubai
Oh my.
to can a coffee beverage.
Oh, cool.
We have systems in Australia. We recently shipped machines to Canada. So this is very much a trade balance issue.
That's awesome. So these two
It's
guys.
really fun.
Yeah. So Josh had a problem, and
He and Brian designed a solution, and now that solution is, spilling over. And of course, that allows us to have a healthy supply chain.
And that's why I think you're there, right?
Trying to help with that side of it, sure, with those fab parts. I think, I haven't counted, but I believe it's maybe just under 300 SKUs for the small machine.
Wow. Wow.
And the rate at which our people assemble these and test them and get them shipped out the door is incredible to me. I have never been to Google, but to me, we're like a Google environment.
Really? Is a young workforce?
It's all over the place, all over the place. We have a 20-year-old gentleman that does an amazing job. He's relocated here from Iowa, and we have senior electrical and machinist people, and so these people are on the floor, and they're solving problems, and it's a constant feedback system. So Josh and Brian are committed to continuous improvement.
Uh-huh.
So
my world.
yes, yes, your world.
Yes. Uh-huh. That's awesome. So what brought you into Twin Monkeys? Because you were off and already and getting contracted and deals to match make, and what brought you into Twin Monkeys?
Well, it definitely goes back to Brian and
relationship, right?
Yep, relationship. And he knows my father well, so he knows the apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
Uh-huh.
And his comment was, she probably won't put up with any nonsense.
Yeah, can't say that. Don't say the word.
So yeah. I really owe those guys a big thank you. It's been a lot of fun. It's so fun to be with a young, growing company.
Yes. Yeah. Big difference from because machining is really it's necessary, but it's being replaced.
Technology
Is being replaced from that in that world.
And it's a global competitive thing. Mm-hmm. We all have to go faster, better, smarter.
That's right. Innovation has to. That's the exciting part, right? Is that you're working with inventors and entrepreneurs and guys that just keep thinking outside of the box. And I think that I was listening to a podcast I think yesterday, and we were talking about this, that you have to, in order to remain competitive, you have to keep innovating
constantly.
You can't, and especially with the technology available today to design, solutions and actually create prototypes. I mean, 3D printing. We have a friend that
Who I'm
Deb.
actually going to get a quote from to print one of our machines. And of course,
Really?
she blows up my brain and says, well, do you want a cutaway? Do you want a functional? And I have to think.
It actually 3D print the machine.
A machine, yeah.
That's amazing.
So you could carry it around and.
For a prototype, I mean, it's fascinating because, you know, when I first cut my teeth in manufacturing, you know, the tool and die makers, I mean, it was a long process.
Yes.
It was a real long process with a lot of contractors involved, and that world has significantly changed with the advent of additive manufacturing or 3D printing, and so that's fascinating. That's really fascinating. But anyways, the podcast I was listening to is that we cannot, especially in today's day and age, in manufacturing and any industry, we cannot become complacent. We have to continually create innovation, and this is a passion of that we share.
Absolutely.
We absolutely share.
Because it's not just the technology. It's
not.
Innovating with how you engage people.
Which is my passion, right? Is engaging people. So, you know, in my business, as you know, it's about, we go in and we transform companies with the technology, changing the culture in organizations.
It's a big job.
From, like, if we go into a factory, it's 200 employees, and you know, standard traditional factory, yes, they have all sorts of systems. They have their MES systems, they have their MOMs, they have their ERPs, they have all their condition monitoring and sensors and all that. But the one thing that so many of them have missed is about the people element.
The human factor.
Right, the human factor. And so if you walk into a factory and you've got all these sensors going on, half of them, many of the people aren't really educated on what to do to respond. So they ignore many of them because they're not quite for sure what to do, right? Or somebody else will take care of that. Or it's going to send a message to somebody that's their job, right? So that's the culture. But what we do is we actually transform the organization into a factory filled with problem solvers. So everybody is a part of solving problems, identifying problems and solving problems. And what takes place is there's innovation that comes from that, just from engaging people. Now their ideas matter, right? So it becomes this amazing, innovative culture. And when you walk into a factory with engaged employees, or any organization, doesn't have to be a factory, but you walk into an organization where people are engaged, which means that they're respected, their ideas matter, they're contributors, and
they take ownership.
They take ownership, and it's okay to fail.
Right.
It's, in fact, we want you,
right,
you know, to make mistakes, because that's how we come up with new ideas, right? Versus walking into what I think so many people have the paradigm of manufacturing is the I Love Lucy, you know, show that has her and what's her Ethel. I was thinking Mary. No, her and Ethel on the assembly line doing the candy, right?
Yeah, industrial age.
Yeah, the industrial age where everything was. I mean,
dictated.
You were mechanical. When I was in high school, I had a nighttime job, and it was taking. Remember the old phone receivers, right?
Oh
yeah. And it was for, who was it? ITT. I think ITT. It was
the technical, the tech school.
So, my job was to pull down a power driver, right? And my whole job was to insert an electronic component and then screw the thing on, and then pass it down. And I'm like, for 8 hours.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, oh my God. And, you know, everything was under lock and key. There was no trust in the environment, you know, where you ate ate lunch was, it was doom and gloom. People weren't happy. You couldn't talk to each other on the line, or you'd be written up,
Yep. You're
So
wasting time.
but that culture, but that scenario has changed.
And that scenario degrades human contribution.
It marginalizes human capital,
Because
right? You're not engaging this, and we all want to contribute, right? I think
and
that's
my experience
so
is everyone
important.
has something to contribute.
Absolutely, absolutely. Otherwise, why are you hiring them, right? You just want a warm body. We have to get out of that mentality, and because the economy is doing so well, and there's such pressures on the labor market, and people have choice now. They don't have to stay in a particular job. They have choice, and they have plentiful choice in manufacturing right now. Would you tell me, you pulled a report real quick on there's
Right. The unemployment rate was like over 9% in 2010, and it's down to 2.2% as of September of 2017. And
wow.
if you can't,
And
if there's no one to hire, your company can't grow.
Well, driving down I-70 now, I swear, I think every commercial building has got a banner on it saying
Now
now hiring bonuses.
Every fast food store.
Oh my gosh, Home Depot.
Every retail store.
Home Depot, Whole Foods, every store I go into, they've got, the old type of help wanted signs outside, right?
And good luck with that.
Yeah, right?
Because there are way better opportunities, apprenticeships, skilled trades. There's no, I'd say we are in such a phase of opportunity for people that want to learn something new,
Yes.
or not work at Walmart or Home Depot. Go be a plumber, go be an electrician.
Absolutely.
Go learn how to electronics, anything. Pick anything, because we need workers in all of them.
There are so many opportunities, and here's the other myth that so many people think is that, manufacturing is low paying. No, it's not. It's actually the higher end, and on average, people that work in manufacturing, they're above the average.
Correct.
And I mean, some of the entry level manufacturing jobs that you were showing me was like $16 an hour, $17 for an entry level position.
Right.
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 And then once you get in, you get to see all the opportunities that are available.
Sure. Quality control, sales.
Shipping, receiving, inventory,
Logistics.
supply chain, purchasing, finance, human resources, engineering, manufacturing engineering, maintenance, reliability, software, programming, right? IT, digital transformation. I mean, and the list goes on and on. I mean, it's like walking into its own economy.
Right.
Truly, it is. It's like walking into a community that you have a vast array of opportunities. Unlike, I worked in the technology industry for a number of years, and that's super exciting as well. But it's different. One thing that is quite different, especially in software, right, is that in manufacturing, you're making something tangible.
Right.
Right? Something that you can see and touch. And when you're out, I was talking to a gentleman from Merck that just went to work for Merck, and he was all excited. He said, I just took my daughter to go get vaccinated, and it was so cool because I knew that we had manufactured the vaccine for my daughter, right? It's exciting.
Stay
It's
with
really
us here
exciting.
on Connect and Collaborate as we talk more about manufacturing. We'll be right back.
1690 AM.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Connect and Collaborate. Again, I'm Alex Hopkins taking over for Tammy Schaefer, your regular on-air producer. And we've got the Riveters in here. And
I feel like I need the power drill to make the noise, right? The sound effect.
We need our overalls on.
We do need overalls on.
We do.
These are the Riveters of manufacturing, I should say, which is, I think, a perfect mascot for you ladies. And it's
Thank
Kristen
you.
Muzzy with Leading to Lean. You're welcome. And Stacey Bibik with Twin Monkeys. And we've had a great conversation so far talking about exactly the field of manufacturing, right? We're at an all-time low for the unemployment rate.
We are.
All over Colorado.
Yep.
And, even
And nationally.
nationally, yes, for sure. But one of the most overlooked industries by far is manufacturing, right? Because it's this whole mindset of the Lucy and Ethel and the,
Yes.
you just sit and do one thing for 8 hours, and it's not like that at all anymore.
It absolutely is not.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So we're talking about the American dream and twin monkeys, and you've got two guys that are engineers and inventors. You had a guy that was doing microbrew, which is really exciting and appealing. It's appealing to millennials.
Appealing to me, yes.
Right? Appealing to millennials, but they saw there was a need, right? And so they got together and they engineered and created this automated bottling or canning machine.
Right. And I think it's just a microcosmic example of what's going on in lots of industries.
Absolutely.
So you see a problem, you see an inefficiency, and you grab this technology off the shelf and apply this process, and you come up with a better way to accomplish whatever you're trying to do. Albedo lighting in Longmont is another example.
Absolutely.
Bought out by GE, and next thing you know, in the manufacturing facility I was in at that time, here we have this brilliant GE engineer coming to ask us to help design and manufacture better workstations for ergonomic purposes for workers, and GE didn't even know they were going to sell that industrial lighting so successfully all over the globe.
Yeah.
But when you're building a new factory, wouldn't you want lighting that's going to get a 20-year return on investment, or that you have to replace every 2 years? So it just catapulting giant steps.
And the rate at which, or the speed at which we can invent, create a solution today is amazing. I mean, you can be at home and grab various software technologies, or just reach out on the internet and find people to help. Hey, I've got this idea, and find people to help you build that idea. It's amazing. It's an amazing time.
Absolutely.
To be in manufacturing.
I attended a presentation by Hunt Lambert, who I believe built CSU Global and then went on to build Harvard Online.
Oh, interesting.
And he spoke about exactly what you just said, that the rate of learning from the beginning of mankind to now is straight up.
Yep.
It's
wicked,
wicked, scary, and fun.
It's kind of like the chart that you saw for how fast the processing speed of an Intel processor, exponentially, right? And I see that with invention today. And you look at, look what 3D printing, I mean, truly what additive manufacturing, and it's young. I mean, it is young. It is changing so fast. And then automation and robotics. A lot of people think that robotics are going to replace so many jobs. And pretty soon, I read something recently where it said, pretty soon there's not going to be any jobs because everything's going to be automated.
And how cynical.
How can that be? Honestly, somebody has to keep creating. Because we are curious and we are creators and we're unsatiable. We want to keep making
more better.
More and better, right? So it's going to continue to change. It's just the types of jobs are going to change, right?
Absolutely.
So I see the robotics as I go out and visit various manufacturers across the nation, here locally and across the nation. There is a lot more automation that's being brought in, but thank God it is, right? It makes us more competitive. It's more precise for repetitive type processes, and in addition, it's helping improve safety of human
Right,
lives,
right.
right? You go into a chemical processor. Well, thank God we've replaced that with automation so that somebody isn't in, a very dangerous area.
And you
know?
bring up chemicals. This is it's a little off track here, but I've been,
It's okay. This is just totally roundtable today.
well,
It's Friday.
and I don't get this opportunity, but thanks to you I do. But I have talked with many people in government, in industry, about Denver's real need to install a modern metal finishing facility. The
Oh.
facilities we have been
Oh.
grandfathered in. The EPA makes it very economically prohibitive. Other parts of the country have done it, and Denver has not done it. And 80% of manufactured parts receive some sort of metal coating to prevent
Right.
rust or
Mhm.
viscosity. But and I love our metal finishers. Don't get me wrong, but
Mhm.
we have to invest if we want manufacturing to keep growing. And as we compete with California, we compete with Texas and Arizona and Florida. We don't make steel here, and we
Right.
don't do enough metal finishing. So a commitment to the supply chain and the resources to continue to grow our manufacturing sector is the multiplier effect is inarguably there.
Mhm.
More jobs, better jobs, skilled jobs. But that's an example. The chemistry, the chemicals. It is dangerous.
It's very dangerous. I mean, some of the stories that you shared with me about that behind that kind of
What workforce it employ.
sweatshops.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's have
Seriously,
a legitimate, safe,
Yes.
environmentally
So
correct.
what needs to happen there? For our listening audience, there might be somebody out there that has a solution.
I think if you
Opportunity.
keep doing what you're doing, Kristen, I mean, it is that collaboration between
Yeah.
leaders and industry and workforce development. Who would ever think they would want to work in a metal finishing factory
Right.
with tanks of chemicals?
Mhm.
Twin Monkeys, our signature color is purple.
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of our fabricated aluminum and stainless steel parts
Has to be coated.
then go to an adorable company down in Colorado Springs. It's a mom and pop small company, and they're doing a phenomenal job. It's not an easy job, and
No.
there's not a huge margin in it, and so we have to come together.
Yes. Yes.
And say, yes, we all need a modern metal finishing facility,
Mhm.
and we need to come together, figure out how to finance it, where to locate it,
Sure.
have
And,
a
and maybe there's some sort of collaboration or participation where these various mom and pops can come together and share in the work because demand's just going to go up if they provide the capacity, right? And
And
there might be an opportunity. I don't know. It's
absolutely.
worth a conversation, though.
Denver Metal Finishing, great metal finishing, and there's lots of different finishing processes. So we kind of have a few smaller companies that have taken
Yeah.
sections of that function. But if you walk through any of those places, I guarantee you will see boxes and boxes and pallets overflowing because the demand for manufactured goods has gone up so much
Yeah.
they can barely keep up.
Yes.
I had one gentleman tell me, you can offer to pay me an expedite fee. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I don't have the people.
There are only so many hours in the day. Yeah.
And I don't have that. Yeah, I don't have the people. I don't have the capacity.
Right. And
to
typically they're
process all this.
geographically limited as well
Sure.
because you can't just pick up, you can't move them because then all those EPA regs kick in.
Wow.
So
That's
it's-
very interesting. Well, hopefully somebody out there.
Who wants to be a champion of metal
Right.
finishing?
Well, it's a great opportunity, and there's got to be a better way of doing it. Just like Brian and Josh came up with a better way of
Filling cans.
Filling cans.
Yeah,
I
whether
mean,
it's beer or
it doesn't sound
kombucha.
it doesn't sound glamorous until you actually start getting into it, and then all of a sudden it becomes super exciting, right?
Yeah, and my youngest son is in his third year at CSU for mechanical
That's
engineering.
right.
So
How's he doing?
He's doing great, doing good.
Good.
That tricky third year, but he finally made it over to Twin Monkeys last week
Oh,
because
good.
on Christmas break, and his eyes were, it was just, he couldn't get enough of it. You know, he's asking the guys on the floor about this, and you could just see the stuff he's learning in school, but this is applied. This is
which is a great transition into talking about the opportunities today to for kids coming out of high school. You know, maybe they don't want to go to college. There are so many opportunities now for apprenticeships, going to Votech, but internships at some of our large manufacturers here are typically the ones that are going to have the internships, right?
the Balls, the Lockheeds.
That's right, Balls, Lockheeds. I don't know if UTA has one down in the Springs or not. But
Not familiar with them, but
yeah.
probably.
but there are opportunities. Vestas is another huge manufacturer here, and every one of them are looking for ways to solve this workforce skills gap. So I know that a number are working with the community colleges and the what I consider Votech, like Emily Griffith,
Sure.
right?
Yeah.
And then who is it up in Wyoming? Wyoming, outside of right there in Laramie. There's Big Votech. Did you not know that?
I think I've heard
Wyoming
of that.
Technical?
Yeah, I haven't been there. I would like to get
It's
up
pretty
there and see
amazing.
it. Yeah.
It's pretty amazing. I'd like to get them down here on the show because they've been around for many, many years, and kids come from all over the nation to go to Wyoming. Wyotech is what it's called. Yeah.
And in our own backyard, Joe Martin at the Warren Tech / Red Rocks
That's
machining
right.
program. If parents knew that they could send their kid for their senior year of high school to a Warren Tech, and I
Right.
think a lot more of this is sprouting up, and I'm probably not necessarily aware of it, but if I would have known I could send all of my kids through high school and they could graduate with an Associates of Applied Science for free and a trade and immediately go to work.
That's amazing.
That's a powerful opportunity, and what a savings. There's such heartbreak when parents have these aspirations for their kids to go get that 4-year degree, and there's nothing wrong with it. That's great.
Absolutely.
But what's wrong with them graduating with an associate's degree and an employable skill?
Yeah.
Odds of them getting work at a company that will pay for those other 2 years
That's
are
right.
very high.
Very high.
No student loans,
Right.
employable,
Mm-hmm.
and 2 years of college already
And
under your belt.
they're learning every day by working.
Right.
Right.
It's different.
mean,
It's a different kind of learning.
It's incredible, but more valuable, right? Because it's applied learning.
Workforce ready.
At workforce ready, exactly. I mean, don't get me wrong. College was fun. College was fun, but
Can we talk about that on the show?
No. That was a long time. But I worked most of my way through college. Did you?
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So to be able to, get a job and be learning, and then also have the opportunity to get further education. Oftentimes, Alex, pipe in because
I shouldn't say only. I always
That's
say
right.
only.
Don't say only.
I do have an
Yeah.
associate's degree. I went a whole different pathway for school. Actually, I graduated high school and I was set to go to Ball State University in Indiana, and I went for 3 years, psychology degree. I was going to end up in social work, and I have no
Yeah.
desire to do that, right? Unless I wanted to go for a PhD or a
Sure.
master's program, and I don't have the money to do that. And so I ended up dropping out after 3 years, and I became a flight attendant. So I got to see the world.
I have
Yeah.
always dreamed of being a flight attendant.
It's a,
You would be a good
I highly
one.
recommend it. It's a great job. It's a great way to see the world, and it gives you time to decide. I thought that I would be a career flight attendant, but I noticed after a while I personally didn't feel like I was using my brain anymore.
Right.
So I needed a new challenge. So I decided to go back to school, and I threw spaghetti at the wall, and I went and I
Good for you.
Right? I took a business class, a journalism class, and a Spanish class, and I was like, I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna see what I enjoy. And journalism was something
Won.
that stuck with me. I totally won. And then I actually got hired here as an intern through Community College of Denver.
Nice.
Yeah, and they decided I did such an amazing job, apparently. They kept me when I graduated in May, and so I've been here ever
You
since.
have done it. You've done a great job.
Thank you.
It's
I like
always
to
fun
think
to
so.
work with you.
It's always fun to. I love everyone that comes in here. I get really enthusiastic. I put on my flight attendant smile every time somebody comes in. Hello, welcome to Colorado Business
Are you going to do
Roundtable.
this?
I do. We're right this way to the radio room.
Tell us about the oxygen mask.
Exactly.
And the
China.
70s
Right.
seat buckles.
That's right.
We still do that. You would be surprised how many people I have to buckle their seatbelts for them, actually.
Really?
It's a surprising amount.
Well, we're how many generations away from the cars that had them?
Right?
Yeah.
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 People haven't seen those.
I know.
That's my sister had a 1956 Dodge. I forget the make of the
That
car.
maybe didn't even have seatbelts.
It didn't.
Right.
It absolutely didn't. And she was learning to drive on that car, and she slammed on the brakes. And we were leaving church one day, and she slammed on the brakes, and we all slid forward. And it was like, what happened? There was a bird in the road. So we had to slam on the brakes for the bird in the road. My dad was like, next time, hit it.
Yeah. Sounds like something my dad would say.
Oh my God. Sorry for all the PETA and the vegans out there.
Excuse me. My friends are going to be mad at
You
me.
were from the Midwest. It's okay. I'm from Wyoming.
And I'm from here.
But you bring up a great point. Is that so? You know, I'm one of 8 kids, and so many of my brothers and sisters, you know, they weren't ready for college yet, and it's not because they're incredibly creative and genius, but wouldn't it be great if there was other opportunities, if we are showing kids other opportunities of pathways, if you will?
Well, and I'll go one step farther. I will say that from my point of view over my life's work, the gap between engineers and machinists has literally slowed us down. Because in other cultures, the machinist is
above
the engineer. And instead of an above or below,
How
can
it
it be
have-
a together?
Exactly, that whole collaboration.
And I used to
right?
ask my dad, I'm just like, why is it like this?
Yeah.
Why can't you explain what it takes to make what they drew on a computer?
Right.
He's like, it doesn't work that way. They give you the paper, you make the thing.
And then if you don't make the thing right,
You never
they,
see them
they
again.
blame you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's
of
a big
finger
gap
pointing.
of intellectual property that had,
Right.
and machinists, by and large, do not have college degrees.
Interesting. I don't think I
Yeah.
knew that, actually.
Right.
But engineers typically can't make anything they drew.
That's right.
And that division of knowledge has made it hard. That's why
Incredibly
we,
difficult.
don't
Yeah.
talk to each other in the supply chain
Right.
because we've been sort of locked in
Well,
separate rooms.
I sent you the design. Now you know it's built, or the design is perfect. It's ready for manufacturing. No, it's not. No, it's not, because they don't know about the production lines and the idiosyncrasies of various
and the
materials.
perspective you drew it out of.
True. Yeah,
What's
good
the
point.
functionality? What's the end game? And the whole lack of conversation and exchange. Think about how much more quickly and efficiently we would get to this constant innovation. So
Right.
that merging of those.
And especially in the larger companies, you absolutely see more of the team collaboration, cross-functional teams working together. But there still is that air, that attitude there that, and I love how Micro says it. The color in the collar, right? I love Micro, and he talks about, let's take the color out of collar.
Love that.
Right? Instead, it's people with skills and ideas coming together to solve a problem. And that's what we all want to, that's what we want to do. And that's one reason why I'm with what I saw in Leading to Lean, and why I'm with Leading to Lean, is because when I visited their customers, that's exactly what I saw, is that collaboration and we all know what the goal line is. And, keeping score is not a bad thing. It's actually a really good thing. And communicating, opening up the doors of communication to, raise your hand that there's a problem. There's no guilt around identifying a problem. It's what we want you to do. And we also want you to participate in solving those problems and becoming the problem solver. So,
Absolutely.
So it's changing, but it's it's changing slower. But who influenced you to get in manufacturing? I'm always really curious, and I ask people this all the time. Why did you stay in manufacturing, especially being female? And I hate bringing the whole gender
the minority,
gender thing in there, but it is a factor, especially when you and I started, in manufacturing. We were definitely the minority.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that was 2 years ago when we started.
Sure.
But who influenced you to stay and not go to become, white collar? Again, there's that color, but
The color. Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. It absolutely
office job.
was my dad.
Yeah.
Number one, front and center.
Was it more commitment and
Perseverance, because skilled trades take time. You can't just take one online class and you're an expert. You can't go to France for a study abroad for a semester, and it's not like that. Skilled
Sure.
trades are building blocks like math, and to see him be able to earn a living whereby, then we moved into a bigger house, and then we had another car, and then, you're aware as a child growing up that you started in a postage stamp,
yeah.
and pretty soon you have a 2-car garage, and you're going to private school, and you're thinking, wow, my dad's. But that was totally because of his
2 minutes.
perseverance, and skilled trades require the tolerance to fail and not take it personally.
Good point.
Just keep going.
right.
You don't know where you're gonna land. Just keep going, and he had that attitude.
Courage and perseverance. Yeah. No,
And
that's
mental tenacity.
key.
Because nobody likes to fail a lot.
Right.
But if you get through it, you'll be amazed how successful you'll be.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at the the famous inventors. How many times did they fail?
Just
Right?
am finishing The Reluctant Genius biography of Alexander Graham Bell.
Oh, is that good?
Phenomenal. His mom was deaf. He ended up marrying one of his students who was deaf.
Wow.
And all of that went into him inventing the telephone.
Oh my gosh.
It's such a beautiful story. I had no
That's
idea.
Oh, that is incredible.
So it's our
awesome.
history, right? It is in our DNA.
It is. It is. And it feels so good to make a contribution and and walk away knowing that you made a difference, right? So Stacey, how we're about ready to close, but what's Twin Monkeys website? www.
Yes, please go check it out. www.twinmonkeys.net.
.net.
Check out those machines.
Yes.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, the riveters of manufacturing. Here
Thank
with me,
you.
Stacey Bibik
Thank you,
from Twin
Stacey.
Monkeys.
Thanks, Alex.
And Kristen Muzzy from Leading2Lean. Thank you so much. And visit us at cobrt.com, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. Like and subscribe.